Our policy and public expectations often collide at the heart of Nigerians' governance. Well, this is my way of saying welcome to Korero. I am Godwin Sunday. Well, this is a space where we take our national conversations beyond the headlines and into context. Tonight, the spotlight shifts to Abuja as we assess the performance of ministers across key sectors, from economy to security, education. Evaluation of the current cabinet have drawn mixed reactions. Some argue that reforms are taking shape, even if slowly, while others insist that promises and policies direction must translate into real, tangible results. After all, governance is not measured only by announcements, but by outcomes people, the outcomes that people can even feel in terms of looking at it in its generality. But to help us unpack these realities, we are joined by Comrade James Azima, who is a public affairs analyst. It will help us to even profile insights into where governance machinery stands and where it needs urgent improvement. We'll take a quick break right now. When we return, we'll dive into the conversation. Please stay with us.
This is Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. We connect people, power stories, and amplify voices. On Rapid TV, we're rooted in culture and your window to the stories that matter. From news to lifestyle, we inform, entertain, and uplift. Join Rapid TV on Star Times Channel 176, Nigecomsat. On Rapid FM, we speak your language, from the soulful airwaves of Umuahia to the vibrant culture of Port Harcourt and beyond. More than broadcasters, we're creators, amplifying that voice within with powerful content across TV, radio, and digital. Join us at rbnradiotv.com and all our social media handles. One network, one voice. Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. The sound of your city, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Korero. Your front row seats to the most pressing issues, from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Korero, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
You're welcome back. Wow, we're trying to look at the generality of the ministers in Nigeria. How far have they been able to achieve in terms of what they promised? Of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave an instruction that, of course, that the ministers should hit the ground running. Have they been able to hit the ground running? And how far can we even say that they've been able to maximize the resources allocated to various ministries, looking at the outcome and what Nigerians are saying across the board? Well, joining me tonight is Comrade James Azima. Comrade James, it's a delight to have you on Korero.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, first, let's even say Happy New Year to you, because it's the first time we're seeing in this year.
Yes. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to our viewers.
Well, so Comrade James, let's even look at the whole generality of ministers across Nigeria. But let's begin with even the Federal Capital Territory, which the FCT minister has been making the news across board. First, with the thank you visit to Rivers State, thanking the good people of Rivers State. But looking at it from the FCT minister, not only down to other ministers in this cabinet, what do you make of the performances of the ministers across board?
Well, I think is with mixed feelings, but if we are going to be taking them ministry by ministry and a minister per minister, then we will be able to know who is doing well and who is lagging behind. Because, like you rightly stated when you were introducing the program, there are certain things beyond what is written or what is said, and that is what people can feel. If a government is performing, people will feel it, people will know, people can assess, because they are actually relating with the outcomes, from the people who are in government. Because the people in government, they actually hold their offices in trust for the people. Not just whether you are appointed or elected. It is the person who was elected that have appointed you to help him to ensure that that trust is not breached, to ensure that the person who has appointed you delivers in the promises the person have made during campaigns. So that is the where we are. And if you must look at them as a whole, you will say that, well, averagely, there is a little bit of good outcome here and there. But if we are to rate them as a cabinet by, say, over 10, probably we can just give them 6 over 10.
All right, so you're saying invariably that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet and the ministers, if you want to rate them over 10, you score them 6 over 10 for the last 2.5 years.
Exactly.
Now, when we look at your grading of these ministers, are there ministries that are actually doing fantastically well in terms of interpreting the government's policies?
Exactly. We'll see some of the ministries. You talked about the FCT minister. You can talk about the Minister of Interior. You can talk of Minister of Communication and Innovation. You can talk about very few of them. But when you want to talk about them that have not delivered in any way, the number one among them will be the Minister of Power. And then you, because this is what we feel every day in the society. The people around, they feel it. Whether you are in the urban area, you are in the suburbs,
even though the Minister of Power will argue that with you, that power has improved significantly, especially in various parts of the country.
Yes, by what?
Looking at even taking it by the indices and the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has been able to also liberalize the whole structure of electricity distribution. Now states cannot distribute power. And by extension,
I understand all those political games and all those political statements. We are talking about what people can feel. Do we have power? The answer is no. So what is he doing as a minister to coordinate and ensure that there is power? That's why he's here. He is there. Nobody is saying that he will be the one to take the tools and go and fix power. But he has to be the engine driving the power, whatever power innovations that we are going to have. So I remember when the former minister for power, Bat Energy, was in office. Every blessed day you are seeing something that was happening, within the power sector. It was from the time he became the Minister of Power that we stopped having load shedding, and then low currents that was part of our life. It was what he did at that time was that he now introduced the smaller transformers, that if every house is like having one transformer, one small transformer in their front, giving them light. That ended whatever thing that we were seeing as both load shedding and low current, because if you are if you are getting from a particular source, there is no overload on the transformer, unlike the community transformer they used to have in those days, that you have maybe 2-3 communities are using one transformer somewhere. When that transformer has a problem, then the whole communities.
And we used to assume that witches and wizards used to come and sit
on the transformer.
They pull on the transformer. Yeah.
And the transformer will stop working. So these are the things. These are the kind of innovation that you will see, that you can point out and say this is what XYZ minister did at a particular point in time. So, but now the Minister of Power, as it is today, what can we point out and say he has done? Because we will hear, the stories of increase in power generation and all those or whatnot. But power generation has always remained at 5,000 megawatts. So, and that has been the historical, average that we have had over the years. Even as I was growing as a child, the same power issue has become something we keep discussing. So we have not moved within the circle of 5,000 megawatts of electricity serving an entire country. You see this December, as it were, you will see that normally during this long break in December, people used to enjoy power supply more because the major power consuming companies would have closed, some government offices have closed and things like that, and then you will see that there's always a general stability in power supply. But it was not so this December. You will see incessant, power outages and all kinds of things. This is the time I think it was just about 3 days ago, I sat down and I remember the coinage that came after because of all these power supply issues, when they now started talking about epileptic power supply. I say we have returned back to the days of epileptic power supply in Nigeria. That you have they will restore power in the next 10-15 minutes. The thing is off. The next 5 minutes is back. In fact, in our estates here in Abuja yesterday, one of the houses actually caught fire. Because why? They were coming off and on, and then the house caught fire, and then the fire service came, and it was a battle. But before they could put off the fire, the whole of the top 2-story building were gone. So these are the kind of things that we are talking about. So these are, if somebody is performing, we will see. Like you are talking of the FCT minister. Yes, even though I don't see the rationale behind the thank you visit to Rivers State, because he's not the governor of Rivers State, he's the FCT minister. So if there is any place that you go and do a thank you visit, it should happen within the FCT local governments, to say, okay, thank you for your support, and then have a feel of what is happening within the place where he is overseeing, not Rivers State. But that as may be, you will see that the FCT minister is actually performing. There's no, whether you like him or you hate him, he is doing excellently well. And he has performed because the person he took over from, he slept for 8 years.
Allegedly.
It was something we can see from the street. He was going to the office, but on the streets.
A lot of people said he was not a media person.
No, he's not a media. The minister of FCT, whether he's a media person or no media person, I passed the road. And the same road, I passed those roads when someone was sitting down as a minister. So, and I can see the difference. So you don't need media anything to for people to see the work that you are doing. We can see it every day. So you will see new places that is being opened up. You will see the minister will move from his office and get to a particular place. He said, no, this kind of thing cannot be here. You know, this is what we are talking about. Yes, but you know, even if you say that he's not playing his politics at home, is diminishing his performance. You know, what people would have seen as the best performing minister in the country, or the best performing FCT minister, is being dwarfed by the politics of look back to the house.
All right, let's talk about two very critical ministries.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Aviation and the Ministry of Agriculture. Nigerians right now tend to be rejoicing. The price of commodities in the market have gone down. That now you can now buy a module or even a cup or a derical of gari at very affordable rates. But looking at it in general, can we say that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration have done magnificently well in this regard, agriculture and aviation?
Well, looking at agriculture, I don't really think that it is about the performance of the minister that has led to the reduction in the price of goods and in the market. There are so many factors that may be responsible. One is that the administration some farmers have accused the administration of engaging in massive importation of grains and some food crops. And that is one of the reasons that you will see the price of goods coming down. Then, secondly, you know, this is a harvest period. And normally, within this harvest period, you will always have the price of goods and services and coming down, because the demand, because of the forces of demand and supply. Then, on the third factor is that the purchasing power of the average citizen is so low that even if the food is to be sold so cheap, you don't have the money to buy. And these are the factors that I can say is the reason why you see the cost of food coming down. Not really about performance, because if we were to look at it from the performance angle, you will see that more farmers were driven out of the farms before this harvest season by bandits and herders. So how will you now be talking about performance in the terms of agricultural output? No, that cannot explain the reason why we are having low price of goods and services. It would have even be cheaper if the cost of transportation were not as high as it is today. Because one of the major things that skyrocketed the price of goods and services so sharply was the increment in the pump price of petroleum products when the president on May 2023 now said that subsidy is gone. All of a sudden, the prices of everything skyrocketed, and the cost, the per pump price was like 3 times or 4 times what it used to be, and then it reflected immediately on the cost of goods and services, and that is the problem that we have been until now. And then you also agree with me that with the inability of some forces to crush the Dangote refinery today, at least he's struggling to ensure that there is a cheaper price of petrol. But these same forces are still fighting to make sure that the price of the pump price remain high, because they prefer to import substandard petroleum products into the country and then distribute them to motorists. And sometimes people don't even know that why they are having problem with their cars is because of the quality of petroleum products that they actually they use on their cars. So some of those people will just be complaining about, oh, probably the mechanic did not know what he's doing and things like that. But you don't know that it is the quality of the oil that you put, the quality of the petrol you put, the quality of the diesel you use is also something that, if it is not of high standard, it will affect the functionality of your car. So these are the things that have been driving some of these food prices. If we have had a situation whereby the prices of the pump price of fuel, for instance, is maybe 400 naira per liter today, I can tell you that the price of food items will crash even more, because most farmers, they spend more money to transport their goods to the market. And then if they transport their goods to the market, what do you expect them? They will build back the cost of transportation into the price of their goods.
All right, so invariably you're saying that the agricultural sector has not experienced significant progress
I don't think so. I don't think so.
President Bola Ahmed. But then the Minister of Aviation have often come out to say that that sector is doing magnificently well under his watch. But then,
certainly, the Minister of Aviation and Aero Development has been very, very innovative. He has been innovative in the sense that you can actually see some of the innovations. If you use the airports before and now, you will see the difference. You will know that he is actually on top of the game. And if you see how some of the crises that have come up within the aviation industry, how he was able to manage them, you will know that this is somebody who means business. And then he has been traveling, since he came in, he was traveling from one country to the other, trying to bring in some innovative ideas, and then trying to also see how some of the certifications that Nigeria is supposed to have, that he's able to get Nigeria to have certain certification that will allow them to fly local airlines across the globe. And you can see it that more and more of Nigerian local airlines, they are flying certain international routes that they were never that never happened before in the past. So those are the things we talk about when a minister is performing. You can see them, you can feel them, you can touch them, you can say, yes, this is XYZ is what the person is doing. You must not do everything, but at least we should be able to point at what you have done, and then we can now assess you based on that.
All right. Now let's even come back to the largest demography in Nigeria, which has to do with the youth.
Yeah.
Now, the Ministry of Youth have also boasted that they've been able to do magnificently well in terms of its own policies, programs, and also what it has been able to create within the youth space. But then, for the last 2.5 years, more Nigerians have traveled out of the country based on statistics than it were in 2.5 years before this administration. On the lips of every Nigerian youth is Japa syndrome. Most Nigerian youth right now will rather want to even leave the shores of Nigeria because they believe that leaving the shores of Nigeria will get you to your El Dorado in all walks of life. But then when you look at the policies also coming from the Ministry of Youth, have the minister also done magnificently well in this space?
Yeah, I think the Minister of Youth, you see, one of the reasons for the Japa syndrome is not just about the activities of the youth ministry. It is about the outlook of the Nigerian economy as a whole.
But the demography of youth,
yes,
want to jackpot.
Yes, they want to move because
just hold on that thought. Let me just make a clarification for those of you that are watching us outside the country. When we say jackpot, it simply means that you want to leave the country. It's a local slang we use in Nigeria, which means that you want to move from your country to another country. I just needed to make that clarification. Please, you can go ahead.
So even the jackpot itself is now creeping into the dictionary of the world. So is becoming one of those.
We have viewers across the world. So before they dodge the dictionary, let's just make that clarification.
I understand.
All right.
So, but we are getting to where the dictionaries are adding new words, and that, by the way. But when you talk about people who wants to go out of the country in search of green pastures, it is because of the way and manner the economy is run. Let me give you 2 reasons why Nigerians move abroad. Nigerians will want to move abroad because of security issues. Young people who before now were asked to go to farm, go back to farm. I remember it was a slogan during the late President Buhari administration. Go back to farm, go back to farm. Young people wants to go back to farm, but the security situation in Nigeria became a problem. They go to their farms, they get killed. So if somebody does not have job because of the high unemployment rate, and he decides to take farming as an occupation, and the farms are not safe, what do you want the person to do? If the person has an opportunity to leave the country, he will leave. 2, the economy has not been so friendly. Like, as we talked a short while ago, you see that one of the people who are affected by lack of electricity in the country are the young people. These are the people who are having, you see some of them, they have hairdressing shops, they have a barber's shop, they have some processing, little kind of processing machines here and there. You see them, you see tailors, you see all of them. There are several of them who want to take up certain skills, but because there's no power to power whatever they are doing, they'll get frustrated, and then you cannot afford to run your business on generator because it is capital intensive. I know how some tailors, around my area tried to run a generator to power their shops, but it was not possible because the people, their clients, were not able to pay. So that is the problem. So they just have to wait until there is electricity supply before they can do their job. And if there is none, the person gets frustrated and he will want to leave at the slightest opportunity. So it is these are the things that are making people. It's not that people want to leave. I know many people who are living, who have traveled out of the country, who wants to come back, but their cry is that our system does not work. We have a system that does not support legitimate ventures. It frustrates legitimate ventures. Someone wants to do some legitimate businesses, it will get frustrated because there will be one thing or the other that is not there. And that is the reason why you see that some of the people, young people that we have today, everybody is itching to leave. I meet a lot of them, we interact, and then what if they have opportunity, they leave. But it is becoming now difficult because of the immigration policies of some countries that is now frustrating everybody. So, but if we are able to get our economy right, if we're able to get power right, then it will reduce some of these things. If we deal with insecurity, most people will not want to go. So it is not just about the activities or inactivity of the youth ministry that will be that is responsible for the Japa syndrome. No, it is because the economy generally is making young people not to breathe, and that is the problem that we have, and that is the problem that the government need to solve, because there is no employment anywhere in the country. I can't remember any time that in the last 10 years there was massive employment in Nigeria. But beyond the current recruitment of police and the army, which most young people are not ready to join, but some of them that I interact with, they say no, I don't want to join because of the over politicization of our security system. Professionalism is dwindling and things like that. So these are some of the issues that that is fueling the Japa syndrome among young people in Nigeria.
All right. So, Comrade James Zimba, there's one sector in Nigeria that we try to even turn a blind eye to, and that sector is the mining industry in Nigeria. For a lot of young persons, they will say that that sector is being obliterated. It's even being saturated by the elderly, and largely young people are not permitted to come into that industry. We've seen the Mining Act and also the Cadastral Act and what has been preferred so far by Fayemi, the former governor of Ekiti State. And right now we're seeing what is playing out. But when you look at that sector in general, under the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have we been able to mitigate the gaps that exist in the mining sectors? Can an average Nigerian right now even get involved in that sector, looking at it critically?
Yeah, I think the minister is the minister of
Mines and Steel.
Mines and Steel Development is actually somebody that understood the challenges when he came in, and he tried as much as possible to deal with some of those challenges, and that's why today you have some mining marshals, for the security, yes, to ensure the security of the mining sites. And then one of the major challenge that we have in Nigeria is that the mining sector were dominated by illegal miners. Most of these people that are in the industry illegally mine minerals, resources at the without some of them without the knowledge of any government. You will see some foreigners, they just come in, they go to communities, they just sort out one or two.
But under this administration, has that changed?
Yes, but under this administration, that is why some of these mining marshals are coming in, not only just to secure the mining site, but to ensure that some of these illegal miners are, flushed out.
A lot of people have alleged that, sorry to even interject, a lot of people have alleged that these marshals are there to protect the elites as against the individuals and residents within this community that are being exploited. A case study is Zamfara State, where you have miners, but then you see the marshals come in, and these residents and indigenes of these communities whose land has been exploited will still pay some form of ransom to bandits, despite the fact that their natural resources are being taken away from them. Has this administration, under the current minister, been able to address these concerns, in your own opinion?
The issue is that the issue of insecurity does not fall within the office of the minister of mines. It does not fall within his office, because the insecurity, as I earlier alluded to, is a general issue in Nigeria.
All right.
And that Zamfara that you mentioned, it is just one of those mining states where some of these minerals are found, that illegal mining has been going on for years. Zamfara has a lot of gold, and that is why insecurity is in Zamfara at the highest level, because some of those illegal miners hire some of these bandits, to do some of the things that create some of the environment that will allow them to continue to ferry some of these gold out of the country.
Comrade James Ezima, Nigerians have often complained that there has been a lacuna, a big disconnect between the various ministries of government, agencies, and parastatal. As a matter of fact, prior to this time, the likes of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was agitating that some ministries should be merged in order for better productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. But then, that is not what we have. Under this administration, is this disconnect, does it still exist under this administration? Looking at what you've just mentioned right now, that the mining has no business with security, but then the people's land and people's properties, or people's, let's just use the word proper lands, that will be invaded, that will be taken, that will be exploited by these miners, will still not be secured. In such a scenario, we've seen what has played out in the FCT just some couple of months back, where the FCT minister had a confrontation with a young military personnel. Looking at all this put together, has this administration been able to close that gap that exists in previous administration, or rather, is the disconnect now broader? Looking at it from a general perspective.
If you look at it from a general perspective, you will say that we might be experiencing a broader disconnect, really, because the insecurity that this administration inherited got worse along the way. Yes, in the last 1 month, I think we are seeing improvement in security after the strike by the U.S. government. After that strike on December 25th, we can say yes that there's a bit of improvement, because it woke up our government to now try as much as possible to see that they end some of these security challenges that we have been crying about every day and nobody paid attention. You see, one of the major issues with Nigeria is that our leaders don't pay attention to the cries of the masses. When the masses raise alarm over certain issues, they don't take them serious. And then, I don't know how they think that probably because of the way our elections are, that they know that they wouldn't need the vote of the average Nigerian to remain in office or to get into office. That's why they don't want to care about how the ordinary citizen, the masses, feel. You cannot. It's only in Nigeria that's where you will see that a crime is committed, and it takes like forever, and nobody has been apprehended, nobody has been charged, nobody has been tried, nobody has been called to question. You will talk about issues that has to do with security, that is the primary responsibility of government, and then is as if it is one of those secondary affairs of government. To every Nigerian, I don't think if you are not feeling secure, then I don't think your productivity will go beyond the average, because you cannot always be sure of your safety. So your movement is restricted, your productivity is diminished, and at the end of it all, it is the the economy that suffers. So that is what is happening in Nigeria today, that the gap is actually widening until the last few weeks.
All right, Comrade James, let's even talk about two major ministries that a lot of persons also turn blind eyes to. This is the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Women Affairs. Have we, so far, are we experiencing a better educational system under this administration? In terms of child rights development, in terms of women involvement in politics, women development, addressing certain concerns that borders on rape and other gender issues, have this administration been able to perform optimally in all of this space?
You see, that's why everything that we are talking about, is returning back to the same issue. And that is the issue of security.
No, let's
you cannot talk about
education.
Now.
Let's talk about education.
That's why I'm saying
6334 was introduced by a particular administration.
That's why I'm saying.
Dr. Tunji Alausa has come under the heat severally with his various educational reforms. For some, they will argue that these reforms has positive impact even on Nigerians. Right now, he has come out just a few weeks ago to say that, hey, no more graduation for certain classes. Now, no more one-time usage of textbooks for a certain class. Now, as looking at all of this in general, can we say that education has improved under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and also the Ministry of Women Affairs?
That is the issue. The question now is, has education improved? No. Why? Because even those who are even going to school are being kidnapped in schools. So that's why I'm saying that this whole issue, they come back to the same thing, which is insecurity. Now, you look at the rate of out-of-school children. Because of the security challenges, it's dropping. It was in this country just some months ago that you saw state governments shutting down schools because of insecurity, for fear of people being kidnapped from their schools. So they shut down schools and asked people to go home. What have you done? You have increased the number of out-of-school children. And that is what we're talking about. Women are one of the peoples that are affected the most by insecurity. They are the ones that turn widows. They are the ones that, because their husbands are killed, either killed as a bandit or killed as a security personnel. Whether the husband is a state actor or non-state actor, when the husband dies, they will be the ones at the receiving end. So women and children are also most endangered when there is insecurity. And that's why when people continue to talk about how to keep the government should, calling on the government to keep Nigeria secured, it is because it boils down on everything. Because it affects anything, whatever reforms we are carrying out in the education sector, and people are not in school because of insecurity. Of what use is that reform? Before you can talk about graduating or not graduating, you have to be in school in the first place. But if you are not in school, how do you graduate? How do you even carry out a ceremony carrying out a ceremony? So if I
understand you correctly, you're saying at this point that the generality of insecurity is throwing this administration in a bad light or negative perspective.
Exactly, because that is what is. There are two issues that are actually dwarfing whatever reforms that this administration has been talking about, and these are insecurity, number one, and number two is the high cost of transportation. If we can deal with these two issues, you will see that the majority of Nigerians will begin to feel the impact of whatever reforms that the government is talking about.
All right, so before I let you go, at this point, who should we be holding responsible for all of the irregularities being experienced? Should we be holding the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it's his administration and he appointed these ministers to represent him? Or rather, should we be calling out these ministers that have been able to underperform in their responsibilities? Who should we even be speaking to? Because Nigerians need to understand who to speak to. Why I say so is because majorly Nigerians don't understand that there are three tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. We tend to channel all our strength to the federal government, forgetting that the state government has responsibility and local government also has its own responsibility as enshrined in Schedule 7 of Nigeria Constitution. But looking at it in general, who should we be speaking to when Nigerians are aggrieved or agitated to address our concerns?
Well, first of all, you will agree with me that it was the president that was elected by Nigerians in the first place. If we are going to deal with the performance of ministers, nobody elected the ministers. We elected a president, and the president appointed ministers to help him to carry out his campaign promises. When the president was making campaign promises, he was not making those promises because he would be the one to start carrying the gun to go and pursue the bandits. No, he made the promises because when he comes in, he was going to appoint people who will carry out those campaign promises. And that is the essence of having a cabinet. The cabinet is meant to help the president to execute some of the promises he has made. So, and if by any means these things are not being done, we cannot say, let us hold the ministers responsible. We have to hold the president responsible because he says that the buck stops at his table. And, you know, when he was campaigning, he made it clear that he is going to, he knows that this thing is something that is not a bricklayer work, is not something, is the work of coordination. He was going to do it. So if these ministers are not giving Nigerians the dividend of democracy, the person who hold responsible is the president. It's left for the president to assess them and know whether it meets whatever demands or whatever assignment he has given to them within the portfolios he assigned to each of these ministers. If they are performing to his expectation, that will be fine. He can leave them there and let them be performing and doing what they are doing. But for me, I would say that the president is the one that could say, yes, these people are performing or they are not performing, I will let them go or I will let them stay. But Nigerians are saying that some of these ministers are not doing well.
Well, Comrade James Ezima, I wish we have time to even look at some of the ministries and agencies and parastatals of government and take them one after the other to be able to assess their performances. But we're just able to pick just a few, just to look at it, that some of them that affect the average Nigerian on a daily basis. But on this one, I want to say thank you so much for finding out time to be with us here on Korero.
Thank you for having me around.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go tonight on the show. Don't forget that you can follow us across all our social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Just in case you want to do that, remember you can do that on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and other social media platform. Like I said, it's already displayed on your screen. I am Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.